Yo, I'm a little whack to the starting up. Hold on. There we go. Awesome. Oh shoot, I gotta do the taskbar thing. The taskbar. There we go. Hey slowpokes, it's Tourist 101. Welcome back to Worldbuilding Wednesday. So, what do you mean sign into chat? Why would I need to sign in? It's what? I know my password, dog. I literally made it. Are we good? Yes, it's really me, dog. What? Frickin', it's being fussy. It's being fussy. Google is giving me mad sass right now. Okay, are we good? Can I see my chat now? I I don't care. Can I see my chat now? I want to talk to the peeps. All 0 of them. Okay. uh, Man, 0 viewers. Tortoise really fell off. Um, yeah, so we're back in the game. We've got we got all the hard stuff down, believe it or not. At this point, we just have to sort of go as we go, you know? So, I went through and I took all of those words or the roots that we needed to have. I'm going to zoom in a little. All of the roots, like, so we started out, I think we left off at like grass maybe. Um but I did the rest of them off off stream because it's just plugging it in, right? So, but I encountered some words which I'm a little iffy on whether to consider or not. Mainly the considerative forms of cave, river, sun, and moon. So, the considerative case has to deal with items that are given as a part of an exchange, right? Um, so you can't really give a cave or give a river in exchange, but you can give the land that those things like take up in exchange, I think. Um, when I use like the considerative form of the word earth, it's more so like the ground, right? I give you dirt, I give you stone, stuff like that. But the cave and the river itself, I'm debating on whether or not to, if these guys like claim ownership of land, or rather just the land is the thing that is there and we just happen to occupy it, you know? So that's sort of where I'm at. And the sun and the moon. You can exchange qualities, like druids can exchange qualities with the sun and the moon, but they're crazy powerful, right? So you can't give the sun or give the moon. But there's also, like, they could have myths and stories that use those forms. Um, about, like, grand mythological beings offering the sun or the moon in exchange. But the people themselves could never do that. They don't have control. They're not allowed, right? The sun and moon would never give themselves to a person. That's crazy talk. Um, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep them here just so I don't have to freaking conjugate them again later. Um, but I don't think we're gonna be using them because that's the thing. Lots of like physical objects can be given in exchange for stuff, but you get to the point where how do I give you air, right? I can give you breath. I get like mouth to mouth CPR. That's giving breath, but they don't. They haven't invented that yet. These guys have carts and agriculture. That's what they got, right? So yeah, I have come up with some phonotactics that subtly change around some of the words. Like some of the illegal consonant clusters that would form as a result of this system then turn into like the ones that are allowed. Um, I can't think of any off the top of my. Most of them were for shut because for the syllabic approximates, they function differently in a word than as consonants do. Um, because of the whole ablaut thing. So there is phonotactics to deal with them, but there's less than for the straight up like because we have um osh, right? And there's I'm debating on whether or not to have more phonotactics and that stuff because osh is really the only one, the genitive is really the only one where it sort of gets in the way. It forms more consonant clusters. Like instead of oshpatin, it turns into opshatin. The sh and the p change places through a process called metathesis. Um, it's a wonder anyone has ever dated me. but, but yeah, so now we get to this is the fun part of language making is we get to actually make more words because now that we've got the systems in place to make the words, we could just make a whole bunch of them, right? Um, and then we can also do verbs, and then we can start making sentences. So, well, no, you've dated virtual lines of code. That's not dating. That's getting a high score, right? I'm really good at getting a high score, but that's not dating. Um, and I'm self-aware enough to admit that. Yeah, I've got no illusions on where I stand with these fictional goth women. Good lord, these fictional goth women. But they ain't people. Um, this is my preferred flavor of being single. Is all of this nerd stuff. If I had to choose, so we gotta make more words. Ah, yes, flavor. So, what new words do we? I think we should roll with this and make new words as we encounter them, right? Yeah. We do need verbs though. The difference between nouns and verbs, nouns got all of these fancy cases and whatnot, but verbs don't really have any of that. They just kind of are things, the random words that exist. Um, some adjectives like are made from verbs, but most of the adjectives are from adjectival forms of nouns. Uh, so we gotta start making lots of verbs. Freaking, there was a thing that I forgot. Beautiful, Gilbert. Semantic. What's the term? Motivation. So how fleshed out is the conlang gonna be? It's gonna be like Chants of Sennaar, where they go swords, enemy kill, or more complete. Um. Well, it's gonna be functional, right? I'm gonna be able to, for all of these languages, for any language, right? You are going to be able to say the same, like, convey the same amount of information as any other language. So anything I want to say in English, I in this language I will be able to say. It'll just look different because some information is encoded into words that in English wouldn't really have that, but English would also encode some information into words that this language doesn't have. And so as we go through and we make this language, we evolve this language into all of its daughter languages, these guys. We're going to we're still going to be able to convey the same things. It's just going to look different. So I wouldn't say it's fully fleshed out. Like, I'm not going to have an entire, this is all of the words that this language has ever had, right? I'm just going to assume that there's a whole lot more off screen that I will go through, and if I need a new word that came from ancient times, I'll go into this language, I'll make the word, I'll go into the next language, go through the evolution steps, and so forth until we reach the modern times when I need it. Chants of Sennaar was very much a... They only made the words they actually used. Um, it's very much structured for a puzzle game, and this is more structured as a naturalistic language. I mean, complete sentences like the sword killed the enemy. Yeah, of course, of course. In that regard, comparing it to Chants of Sennaar, this is going to be much more in depth and fleshed out than Chants of Sennaar ever was. Because Chants of Sennaar, I love that game. I love that game. Its grammar is just English, right? There's some extra bits, like it has a plural marking, and then the third guys, the bards, they had particle, like subject object verb particles. So that was cool. They got a little fancy with it, but it was mostly just English. This is its own thing. There's this. So how did Bale become blue? Freaking. You see, I know what thing I'm trying to look up, but I don't know what it's called or how to convey it. Basically, um, in this kind of stuff, the proto language, right? Because this is technically a proto language. Um, I'm adding maybe this is like as 1/3 as complicated as Proto-Indo-European. So I'm comfortable in saying this mess is a proto-language. But in Proto-Indo-European, the word bale means frickin' the word bale means to burn, right? And then this turned into blaze, right? But it also turned into black, and it also turned into blank, and then It also turned into blue, and it also turned into burn, and basically, one word turns into so many different things that are all sort of related to each other in terms of like a tree. So I'm trying to figure out. I want to look that up so that I can do that. Tick evolution in language. The word's meaning changes over time. Oh, this isn't exactly. Nice. Yeah. Okay. Freaking heck. This isn't what I want. Well, I mean, it's talking about semantic change, right? And I mean, that is the term that I looked up, but it's not. I'm, the one time that my brain is working properly, I can't get it. Um, frick. I'm just going to go here to YouTube and look it up. Evolution and conlanging. It's the grammatical evolution. It's the present. Yeah. A posteriori. Okay, hold on. Priori language versus posteriori. Unlike posteriori languages, a priori languages are not based on one or more natural languages. Their creation is motivated by the desire for a neutral language. Okay. All right. So, hmm, I'm going to drag this to my other screen. And I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to mute the desktop audio. I don't know why there's so much like input lag on my other thing. Get to the point. Okay. Evolution. Need your focus. Okay. Language verb. Semantic bleaching? Is that what it's called? Okay. 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 So, here's the deal, chat. Basically, I didn't find the thing that I was looking for exactly, but I do trust in my ability to make it up as I go. So, I had a little refresher, so now I can get into the thing proper. Um, right. So, for verbs, let's just start writing a bunch out. Because I've spent 20 minutes and I haven't done anything yet. So, see, hear, taste, smell, touch, and then movement, go, stay, arrive, leave. We have give, oop, give, have, um, so because they're all about exchange, I think give and take should be the same word. And also, I think that taste and smell should be treated as the same word. They'd say something along the lines of the air tastes. Okay. Um, die. So we I don't know whether they would have a word for to live. So, Indo-European word for to live. Is that realistic? to live or to dwell, right? Okay, yeah, so they would. I keep underestimating the complex concepts that these languages can come up with. I keep thinking this has to be like Unga Bunga caveman language, but it's really not. It's really just sort of its own thing. So I think um we will have a word for life. I think that'll be a noun. Uh, hmm. Life. What are some plant words that we've got? Uh, okay. We've got sudden sit. What if we have tinwa, right? Life. So animate form ten tenwa. Oh, it would be tenweir, tenwheel. Um, does life have an inanimate form? I think concepts would be treated as animate, right? I don't think life would have an inanimate form. Inanimate form for the word life. Okay, I'm gonna mark these as blue, and I'll come back to them, but I'll still write them out. Absolutive, this would be tonwas. This would be och, right? Osh. No, it just, right? Yeah. Oshan. Or it would be Oshan? No, yeah. Yes. Okay. Uh, Tone, Tone Week. That's a silly word. And turn, turn velour. What is that allowed? Turn velour. Hmm. Let me turn velour. No, that's allowed. We can do that. All right, and then inanimate. Pinwheel. Pinwheel. Uh, Twinwos. Twinwos. And Twin. Twinwilor. Yeah, so it takes a little practice, right? But Twinwos and Twinwilor. Those are words. They can say those. That's fine. So to live, we need a verb form. I don't know. To live is to be alive, so would live just be a passive form? Okay, but then we've also got to do passive stuff. So we need the copula, the copular verb. Copula to be. Right. Yeah. And then, right, so there's also cover. And then I also want a word meaning the exchange. Or actually, I think they would just call that the giving. The give and the take. Right. So, cover, as in to cover something. What other words go along with that? To make? Like to make spears and stuff? To create that kind of thing. Um, Start, finish. Hmm. What other words do they have? They'd also have stuff like hunt, right? Hunt. I think they have words for, because make, right? They create tools and they craft and they. Would chopping down trees, would they call that hunting trees? Would they just destroy the tree? They consider that killing? Who knows? Right, so cover, make, to mark something? Like drawing on it? Because they do art, right? They'd also have words for to farm or cultivate. Would that just be making plants? To plant something? See, because that's the thing. Some verbs come from nouns. Like when you grow plants, right? That just then gets the word plants to plant something, then gets taken on to mean to grow the plant, right? So we can derive verbs from that. To farm, to plant, and then this can be to harvest. They'd also have words for to herd, right? Like herding animals, because they've got oxes and stuff, and goats. They would. Damn, my brain is slowing down. They would. Words to plow fields. They had words for milking stuff. Although, that could also be harvesting milk. Or gathering. We'll make a word for gather. Would harvest be gathering? I think harvest has the connotation of gathering something that you created or that you like developed and stuff. I think that's a separate word. Herding animals. What else has to deal with that? There's milking, but that's gathering milk. Or that's harvesting milk. Gathering milk is going out into the wild. I don't know, finding a milk tree or something. As one does. Um, I think they should also have words for things that non-humans do. Right? So the fire burns. See, that's the thing. We could derive that from fire, like the word for fire. But the way that fire burns something is something that a human, a druid, could potentially do themselves. So would they have another word for it? That's the kind of stuff we gotta take into consideration. What aspect of a river may a druid do? It might come from the considerative form, right? One may act as the act as the river gives us. I think that may work. Then I think they should have a word for to do or to act. Act. To do. Is there a special word for that? Because I know that the copular verb, um, it's also it links the subject of a sentence to a subject complement. The sky is blue, or the phrase was not being in the sentence. It was not being cooperative. Right. So it's like the word is. But I wonder if there's a thing for the verb do linguistic Linguistics. To do is an irregular verb that can function as a main or auxiliary. Its forms are do, did, done, doing, and does. To do. Do is a main verb is extremely versatile and has many meanings. It can be used when achieving something, taking part in an action, creating something. Oh, but what does it mean? It means like to act, right? Do support, sometimes referred to do assertion or periphrastic, 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 periphrasis, periphrastic do. So you can use an auxiliary form do or one of its inflected forms, e.g. does, to form negated clauses and constructs which require subject auxiliary inversion, such as questions. Use I did shut the fridge. He will laugh. Will he laugh? Right. So subject auxiliary inversion does that. Um, There's no auxiliary or copular present. Inversion requires the introduction of the auxiliary in the form of do support. Do I know? But how did that come about? Emphasis, yes, he did eat his breakfast. Text for constituenthood. Words of a verb phrase in X grammar. The do-so construction. The do-so construction can be used to test if a verb phrase is a constituent. What? Okay. The children ate the pizza with gusto. Oh, I get all of that. The children did sow the... What? Did sow the pizza? What is this? Why is this a thing? Do your homework. Right, so this just does all the stuff. Do just does too many things. I guess in we would say it acts in too many ways. I'm just gonna have the word act, right? Acts upon, acts in such a manner. So if we need to get the quality, something the river does, right? Like, as just a fact of being a river, a druid can then exchange something and gain that quality, the adjectival form of river, as, as the considerative form, and then act in that way. Oh, this is. We introduce one cool magic thing, and now the whole language has to change. This is so silly, goofy, wacky. Also, what did I miss? Sounds like I mentioned Silk Song. No, Silk Song. God, I'm gonna publish this book before Silk Song comes out. Oh, okay. Language is complicated. All right. Um. Cool. So we gotta. It's been 40 minutes. We get to make some words. Let's at least have fun with it. The copula. Wait. So English. I'll make more verbs when we get there. Um, and then we'll just write the verb there. And then of course I'll make it all pretty and stuff after. Copula. Gue. To see, we have petit. We don't have any of those yet. Glow or light. Oh. Will. Would light be more so act in the way that the sun does than act in the way that the fire does? Because the sun. Okay. Here's the thing. When deriving verbs from things that other, like, non-people stuff do. So, the way we've got it going on, right? The considerative form is something offered in exchange. So, we have fire, right, as a noun form. So the noun fire, that would be, if we're talking about the absolutive case, that would be obelos. So, but it also has an adjective form. But it only has one adjective form. That's the thing. So, obelos, so wobelos, covers all of the adjectives of fire. This basically fiery. So the considerative form is something offered in exchange. So if I gave you fire, it would be I rebellor, you give. Although, yeah, so I rebellor give. I guess the secondary noun would we then have a dative form? Should we have a dative form? Okay, I'll cover that in a second. But but this is I give you the fire itself. I give fire to you. We could also have it implied, right? That's also an option. So I give fire to you. Now this is I. Then we have Wubelor. Remember, switching to your secondary word is always quicker than rephrase. Oh. If I had mods, I would mod you. Oh man. That's great. I'm writing that down. That's gotta be. That's beautiful. I love that. Oh, that's oh. Right. So anyway, this is I give the quality of fire. Or in a way it's I give fireness to you, right? So if we act in a way, because this encapsulates all the things that fire does. It is the fireness, right? The fiery hood, if you will. Flamedom. What if I were to I belos act? Or that's just in the adjective form. But if I act in a quality, right? So hold on. Verbs go before subordinate verbs. Adjectives go before adverbs. So in a way, it sort of turns it into an adverb. And that goes after the noun, after the verb. So because this is functioning, is this a transitive verb or an intransitive verb? It can be either. It can be either a transitive or an intransitive verb. So I act belor, right? I act in the way that fire has granted me. Or I act in the manner that fire does. So this is an optional object. So this could mean that I burn the object. This could mean that I consume or destroy the object. This can mean I melt the object. If it's like ice, I heat, cook, warm the object. So this in and of itself has so many different ways of like meaning. It can mean so many different things. At some point, I want to be able to turn belor, because it's sort of like how the Proto-Indo-European bell turns into blaze and black and blank and blue and burn, all of that stuff. Belor turns into words that mean to burn or to consume or to melt or to cook, right? Or to heat. Although, really, because the fairies know that it's not fire melts ice but more fire causes ice to become melted. So the humans wouldn't really understand that, but in the fairy language, a similar process may occur, because fairies can become druids too. The way that works is that fairy like humans and human like fairies can both become druids. So the druids of the human continent, all of the human druids, are going to be very fairy-like in nature. But anyway, so they would say the quality itself allows the melting of the ice. They would use a passive construction. But this is sort of how this would work. This is what I was talking about earlier. So when we're going to make more verbs, right? All of these come from act with belor. So at some point, act will be affixed on. So I want right now to make that easy on myself in the future. This is why I introduced all of this stuff. I want to make that easy on myself in the future by making it short. All of that to explain why act is going to be a short word. But mostly I just wanted to talk about this. This sort of like cleared it up in my head a little. I'm thinking out loud. And this is the case for all of these. All of the I act in the way that the cart does. I act in the way that the fruit does. Which I am known to do. I act in the way that the tree does. All of that stuff. That's going to make the amount of verbs we have in our constituent languages so varied, because they're going to be able to do all of the things that anything else does through druidic exchange. And the druids talk about it, and they're held in high regard. So that trickles down into everyone else's vocabulary because they can see it. And they've got this idea. Until, chat, until we get into this area, right? Because once the humans discover the fairy continent and discover how the fairies do things, these guys decide to invent racism, right? And this is important because then they start to look on druids, because druids, the human druids, are very fairy-like, and they start to see fairies as lesser than, and so then they see druids as lesser than, and so they shut off all of the druidic influence on their language unless they're talking about it in a derogatory manner. But what they still have, right? They still have all of the considerative stuff baked into their language, and that's what makes this so cool. Is because they're going to have words to describe. They're going to have a very easy way of describing what the druids do, and hating on it at the same time. Usually, hate comes from a lack of understanding or ignorance. No, 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 no. Well, I mean, they develop ignorance at some point when they stop talking about it. But it's sort of like how being gay in ancient Greece wasn't really being gay. They didn't really have any way of describing that. They just saw it as just a normal thing that people did. It wasn't nothing special, right? But then you go to the Victorian era, like the Renaissance. They're like, oh, all this being gay nonsense. You shan't talk about it. It's impolite. It's gross. Do it in your own home, you freak, right? That's sort of how they treat druids. Do it in your own home, you freak. I'm gonna write that down. That's that's important to the lore, chat. There you go. Okay. This is fascinating. Just one little thing just ripple affects the whole languages. It's awesome. I like doing this, chat. I enjoy this. I do this for fun. And now I'm subjecting you guys to my incessant ramblings for freaking what's the word? Engagement. Engagement, it is what it is. Okay. Act. Wouldn't it be funny if I just what if I just made it what the hell? What? Because that can easily at any point in like a down the line become something like ood or youth. I don't know. It's got potential for silly phonotactics. Um, right. So we'll get that later. Uh, then we need go, stay, leave. Go is talk. Oop. Stay is shen. Arrive is podnen. Leave is errrr. It wants to do that, but I've got more stuff. Start. I don't have words for start or finish yet. Then we need have, which is osh. Or it was osh at some point. It needs to not be osh anymore. Through the semantic bleaching I was talking about earlier. Die is hitom. You know, Purple Slime, I hear you talking about your cats all the time. Tell me about your cats. I would love to learn about your cats. Cover is sleeb. I like that word, sleeb. I think it's fun. I think sleeb is a fun word. I mean, they're not really my cats. They're basically just three strays that live around here. Oh, that makes sense. They got names. Now we get to make all of these. So, Rato. Right? Am I allowed to do that? Yes, I am. No, I am not. Rato. Not really. So you just got three mystery cats and you chill with it? Oh, wait. I need... Oh, these don't fit the... Frick. These don't fit the phonotactics. I need this for reference because I keep breaking it. Like, all of these are fine, but Gue doesn't fit the phonotactics. I'll have this be word final. Gue. That's allowed. I'll just have pet. Right? That doesn't get in the way of stuff. I didn't already do that. Cool. We just call them by their looks, fluffy, calico, and mustache. That's fire. I like that. So the word for pet, so the word for sea and light are similar. Like this is pet, and then this is petinier, petinil, potinos, op, shatin, platinic, platinlor, stuff like that. So this is similar. I wonder if I need to explain that, or if I can just do that and then it'd be chill. I think I might just do that and it'd be chill. Um, H is a loud word initial, right? Yeah. I might do Hern, right? No. It has to be Henner. Touch. Hmm. I will Start it with this, because that's allowed. Although, uh, that. And then I will change this to be. Don't they have a word for air? Do they not see the air as a thing? They have a word for breathe and life and stuff. I think I decided not to give them a word for air. They don't know how to communicate with air yet. But I guess life is a thing. So 10. We have Enwa. Emwa. Ta ta ta. What if it? What if they just like click their teeth together? You know? Ta ta ta. Mm. I think. Ta. They have, yeah. I don't use G a lot. Yeah, it's a rare consonant. I'm gonna give it a rare consonant. Tog. There seems to be a lot of strays in your area, so it's neighbors' houses above their gathering spot. The squad. Start and finish. I start spending hours making complex rules, and you know what? It's just makes them go, I got with their teeth. Yeah. Um. We don't have a very varied inventory. The sound inventory is all sorts of together. You know, and I've got all of these consonant clusters, and I'm not using them. Let's change that. Crud. Crud. Um. And we will have. Oh wait, am I allowed to do this? Oh, it's got to be a crud. Oh, I actually already had it. It's crud. Um. And then finish as ep. Is this allowed? Puden. Ep 10. That's fine. Hunt. It's sort of like cause to die. We don't have a causative yet. So head. So no head. Everyone drink some water. Stay hydrated, it's important. Cover is sleep. I like that word, sleep. Needs to sleep. Mr. the Missile has had a long day splashing bandits. Needs to sleep. Um, make. To create. Gotta be new. Let's peruse the clusters. Charen. Charender. Right? Am I allowed? Charen. Hmm. Cheddar. I think that's fine. And then mark can be qualsh, right? No. Quash. Hmm. Quam. Question: how would these people refer to dead bodies? Would they still use creature words on them, or would they fall in inanimate words? I think that the inanimate form of person might work, but I also plan for them to for the animate and inanimate forms to evolve into masculine, feminine genders down the line because sexism. Thanks, humans. Um, in one language, so maybe in another language that could be the case, like another daughter language. But I think a more universally applicable one would be dead person. I think they would just call them a dead person, person who has died. Or heck, at some point, maybe die turns into a noun because of how many times it's used. Like how we call them the dead. So there's lots of options there. Again, there's a lot of ways in every language to say a lot of things. So they'll find a way. And then um every different language family will have a different set of favorites that they settle on. And the Wolveric IAL, International Auxiliary Language, that they create at some point before the start of the book, like I'm thinking maybe like 5 years, 10 years before the start of the book. So it's like it commonly found and used a lot in diplomacy, but the average person is only going to vaguely recognize it. Um, it's like if any of the Romance languages looked at Latin almost, or like you speak a European language and you take a glance at Esperanto, something like that. It'd be recognizable, but it's not like it's a separate language you have to learn. It just should be like universally the same difficulty for all of the Wolveraic languages to learn. And again, I'm gonna change this name likely because these people have to like call it that, you know? I don't think I've seen any world buildings with a character doing their own world building project. Like a character in the world building project doing their own world building project in the world that is being built. There's an open niche for it, I guess. Um, farm to plant. Word for wheat, right? We had one of those grass and wheat. Sodden. Sedn. 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 How do Sedna? Sedna. Segna. Sedna. Segna. Would it be Segn? I think if we just have deng, right? That's allowed. Oh, it'd be degn, sigma. Yeah, technically you just keep going forever. There's a skit I found about the people learning that they're in a simulation, and then it turns out the person that made them is like communicates with their god, and then their god, it's like a play on Christian God, who's then like, yeah, but I'm also like living in a world created by another, and it keeps going up. I forget the ending to that skit, but that's sort of what it reminds me of. Just like a full Gnostic chain of command. That's one religion I don't hear people talking about a lot. Like everyone when they talk about like pagan religions is all like, ah, Wiccan, ah, the Greek mythology, ah. But Gnosticism hasn't been talked about in so long. Like you get on like a cult Tumblr or whatever, and they start talking about the demiurge, and it's like, yeah, okay, but it's not mainstream. And I don't know. I think Gnosticism is pretty neat. That's where the term agnostic comes from too. Harvest. Sort of like the opposite of plant to hunt. So if we just have a deg, I think that's I think they'd get it. They need a word for gather. It's sort of like hunt, and it's sort of like harvest, but it's like out in the wild. So tehad. I think that works. The endless cycle, pretty much. Uh, plow. All right. What's funny? What's funny? We're mum. Or we're mum is allowed phonotactically. I'm not gonna do that. Although worm, that is an option, right? Oh, it would be wummer. Hmm. Vermom? Oh no! Chat found out my secret. That's why they keep calling me mommy. I'm a mom. The full moon happens, and suddenly I have the irresistible urge to embarrass my chat as if they were my young. When you show me memes, I will ask you if you know the people in the clip. I will hold my phone at a barely acceptable distance from my face. Hmm. Quad. Quid. I like the DN. I like dna as a consonant cluster. I think dna is cool. 3 cheers for dna. Although, Gwetter. Honorable mention to Gwetter. I'm still in disbelief that Trump collaborated with probably two of the dumbest streamers ever. I'm not. I believe that. Man, ever since that world-renowned Home Alone 2 actor started getting into politics, things have been crazy. Heard. Emben. Embo. I'm cool with that, right? No, it would be Ebmo, right? Yeah. Ebmo. He really fell off after his good old days in Home Alone 2. Talk about a one-hit wonder. All right, I think this is a solid amount of verbs, right? Yeah. So we should get into now we can like make simple sentences. The person sees the animal. The big animal eats the fruit. Or eats the grass, I should say. Hmm. The sun. Hmm. We need a word for sky. It was. All right. So, Tewesir, Te, Tewesir, Te, Tewosos, Och, Och. Oh man, I'm getting lightheaded. Man, I'm getting really lightheaded. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna just chill for a second. I'm not gonna pass out or nothing. I need a moment. Okay. Aw, what do you mean aw? You want me to lose consciousness? What have you to gain from that? You can't even. There's no face cam. You can't even see me unless you're in my walls. Otshewas. Instrumental. How does one use the sky as an instrument? How does one use the sun as an instrument? It would have to be something else using the sun to do something, right? Oh, no, 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 wait. No, it could be used for like stuff like pathfinding, like for using the sun because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So it would be I'm gonna carry it like most of the planets features from Earth. I'm not gonna worry about all the whole astronomical stuff with that. But there's like I use the sun to find my way, pretty much. Tortoise, I would never be in your walls. It's overrated anyway. That's why I'm in your floorboards. I hope you enjoy my new house's carpeted kitchen. That weird rain you've been feeling? Yeah, that's a juice and sauce that is seeping through the ground. I'm not happy about it either. We got a vacuum though. It's weird. It's like a double vacuum and mop. It's wild. We live in the future. Instrumental. So like the sky, also the sky at night, right? So we also need stars. So that's where the tasty stuff's coming from. Gross. That's that's gross. You're gross for saying that. That's a gross thing to say. Okay. The carpet in the kitchen sounds as good as the carpet in the shower room. Well, okay. So when I say carpet, I mean like industrial carpet, like school carpet. It's not like the plush carpeting that you'd find in a living room or something. But it's still carpet. Like it can only be so acceptable before it gets into like gross category. Table table seek. Actually, we get to do a thing here. Instead of table seek, it's table sleek, which I think is cool. There's gonna be oils and waters and other mystery liquid. Yeah, yeah. It's still carpet. Like that's why we got the combination vacuum and carpet cleaner. And then considerative. How does one give the sky? This is another thing that I'm going to mark. But Taylor Slower. Yeah. And then all of these. Tavis Taviseer. Taviseal. Tavus Tausos. Is that allowed? Are double W's and double L's allowed? Am I allowing that? Yeah, double instrumental leak. Um, and Kubu Barlor. Yeah. Yep, that's allowed. Teusos. Teu. Oop, frick. Teuslor. Alrighty then. Cool, 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 cool. Uh, okay. Let's quit making more words for now and just focus on these sentences to translate. The person. So this is the sentence. This is the gloss, and then this will be the proto-lang. Gloss is like intralinear gloss is just stuff. It's like the halfway point in translation. I just break it down to its pure grammatical components. Did I just say mords? Mords? When would I have said mords? What? Did I? What was I trying to say? Like 2 seconds ago. Dude, I don't remember. That's a crazy long time. You're holding a grudge for that. Let's stop making mords. I said words. Words. Did I say more? Oh, man. I'm becoming melt. Alright. Person. Animal. Sea. Protolang. Person is... I'm gonna zoom back out. Also, I have to mark this for accusative or... Yeah. So this is ergative. Ergative. Animal. Accusative. C. So the ergative form for person, and it's got to be animate too. And also animate. So person, that's an animate ergative person is hekir. Here, an absolutive, sorry, not accusative, absolutive. And there's no animate inanimate distinction for this, so that's fine. Hekir, modos, and then C is pet. So Hikir modos pet versus brain is welting. Guys, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. The big animal eats the grass. So big thing, adjective. It also has to be ergative. So because the grass is the object here. So adjectives go after the nouns. So first the main noun. That's the animal. Animal. It is ergative. It is animate. Big thing has to agree with those things. So it's an adjective, but it is also ergative. There's also animate. There's a lot of information being coded into this stuff. Next. Grass. Grass is absolutive. Then, eat. That's easy. Okay. So this is basically the animal, the big thing, grass eat. So the ergative animate animal, try saying that 10 times fast, is medir. Big thing ergative adjective. Oh, it's also got to be, yeah, it's also animate. That is hemir. Grass. Absolutive, right? Grass is sotos. Monkey D12, hi. Just found this channel. Welcome to chat. How's it going? What brings you here? Uh, yeah, that's grass. And then we eat, which is taste and smell. Is that the same thing? Do we call that eating? I think that's eat. I think we can consider this eat. Tag. All right. So, the big animal eats the grass in this language is Medir Himir Sotostag. Said fluently is Medir Himir Sotostag. The big animal eats the grass. So, the sun lights up the sky. This is sun, ergative. Would they consider that animate or inanimate? What would be an inanimate form of the sun? Do they think the sun is animate? Maybe druids see all things as animate. Right? Because humans, generally from the outside, they're like, oh, the tree is inanimate, right? It's not alive. It's just tree stuff. But druids would be all like, the sun moves, it's not inanimate. That's also fair. Um, See, humans from the outside. You just tuned in. This is for a book I'm writing called The Art of Promises. The only magic system that humans have access to, we're talking like this area of the world. This is the human continent, and this is the fairy continent. But human druidic magic focuses on exchange. So a druid can exchange qualities of themselves with qualities of objects. So, for example, um, the Kellen, one of the characters, a druid, asks fire for its heat. Um, it offered, Kellen offered its strength for the fire's heat, and now Kellen can use the fire's heat in any way it wants. And Kellen is a mage, separate from being a druid, and mages use it its pronouns. Anyway, lots of stuff. There's lots of. I recommend if you need background noise, you go back to the other VODs. They're up on my channel under the live tab. I mean, it's not really animate, more just not living. Yeah. So the way they perceive animacy is complicated, because on one hand, there's it being alive and it moving and stuff like, and then it not, right? So it comes into questions: would bigger animals be more animate than smaller animals, like beetles and stuff? Would they consider them the same thing even? Um, Words like big thing and small thing, which are mainly used for their adjective forms, those are more like, yeah, because you can describe animate and inanimate things with them. But druids who can commune with these things, right? They have wills and motives and desires. So it's not. It's really like kind of it's all animate to them. So we can encode that into the language by treating the sun as, we can say that this sentence, right? Regular humans may see the sun and moon as inanimate sometimes, right? But a druid would consider them animate all the time. And a regular non-druid humans can also like consider them animate depending on the circumstance. I think this is more of, instead of referring to specifically the noun itself, it's how the noun is acting within the bounds of the sentence or the story or the context, right? Because a person that's animate, say an active moving hunter, and a person that's inanimate, say paraplegic even, which again has its own set of problems, but this is a proto language. They're ancient people. They're not there yet. So that could reasonably be something they consider. Right. So I think it depends on context. And I think in this context, the person telling the story would consider the sun inanimate. I just decided that that's an arbitrary decision. But yeah. Sky. The sky is absolutive. And it's also inanimate because they're just talking about things as like facts of the world. And then we need a verb. The sky is clearly inanimate. Yeah. So to make verbs derived from nouns, we use act. So this is our first big verb noun verb. So this is gonna the way we handle this sets the precedent. I'm making this like a bigger deal than it actually is. The sun lights up the sky. Now we could say that that is the sun acting in a way that is sun-like, as the sun is known to act. But I think using light in and of itself is more, because they're talking about it like very directly, like they're teaching someone about how it works, rather than, oh yeah, the sun's doing what the sun always does, as someone may offhand comment. So I think light is referring to the sun, so it's got to be ergative and inanimate. But it's adjective. It acts bright. Yes. And because it's an adverb, the typical sun doing its usual sunny things, as the sun does. Adjectives, adverbs, verb auxiliary, yeah. So, see, make, right? As in, like, cause to see. So, I think the verb is act, and the light is the adverb, so it acts brightly. I think that's the way that this is handled in the proto-language. Random purple slime, you're right, the sun is always doing sunny things. Guy knows what he's talking about. He's an expert, really. But we've got to understand that this bright has to agree with this subject. So we've got to get the right form, which is ergative inanimate, but it's adjective. So erg inanimate. Whoa. Adjective. Okay. So the ergative inanimate form of the sun is Gwenadil. Then sky, ergative inanimate, is, or sorry, absolutive. Yeah, what did I write? There's no animacy distinction for absolutive, so that doesn't matter. So the absolutive form of the sky is Teosos. Then act is what? Light. Freaking, where was it? Oh, it's right here. And then it is also it's the ergative inanimate adjectival form. Wow. So that is Pitin. Pitinil. Okay. So, the sun lights up the sky. Is Gwenadil twos... Yeah. Gwenadil twosos Pitinil. Is it twosos? No, it's tewosos. Gwenadil tewosos Pitinil. That makes sense. So, um, we can write this out. Noun-based verbs are handled by act plus adjectival form of the noun. Of the noun you're trying to derive it from, agree with agent of verb. Says some random gibberish. Yeah, that makes sense. It's fine, guys. It's fine. Listen, I get it, and so once this works out, you guys may get an intuition for it. I'm already experienced with making conlangs, so it's fine. Man, my Tumblr is blowing up. Y'all, I'm famous. Okay. Cool. So, what plus the adjective form of noun, and the way we handle this is the agent acts nounly. So the sun lights up X, right? Lights up, or alights. I think alights, brightens, etc. X would be treated as the sun X acts lightly. That's how it's handled. This is this is the direct translation into English, the flat, pure translation, not how they would interpret it, but like this is how if the words one for one were translated, the exact textual translation. That's how it is handled. The purest. This is the good stuff, chat. So, which then it translated, we will have actually we can just write this out. So the way this is handled, this is sun absolutive act light adjective form absolutive. So, and it's absolutive because of ergative absolutive alignment. So the sun absolutive is guanedos. So guanedos. What light adjective adverb is uh, Putinos. So the sun alights or the sun brightens is Guanados Putinos. Need my weekly hit of that good stuff, purest translation. Every Wednesday, I'm your guy. I only ask for a small crumb of attention, and the good stuff is yours. So, we've got a bunch of these verbs, and now we know how to handle verb stuff, but then we also need freaking I'm gonna actually translate a couple words that have to deal with this stuff. So, um, the person is at the river, and the person stays by the river. I want to highlight this versus this because our postpositions here are derived from verbs. So at, on, or near is stay. So we've got to really show the difference between these two. And the way we can show the difference is the optional VSO syntax we have for verb emphasis. So the person is at, we determined this would be person, river, stay. So person, animate, person, ergative, animate, river, we will have absolutive and stay. Right? Yes. Cool. And this will be interpreted as them being at the river. But the person stays by the river. Wait, hold on. No, it's got to have the copula too. That way, because before stay was functioning as the verb, um, because if it didn't have the copula, then it would be the same way. It would be ungrammatical because it's basically like us saying, "Oh, the person at river." It's basically us saying the person at the river, which here, if it were like a relative clause, right? If this were the start of a sentence, that would be fine. This is a grammatical phrase, but it's not a grammatical sentence. We have to add the copula in order to make this a sentence, because then it's the person is at the river. So, person, ergative, that is heck here. The river absolutiform is konos. And then stay. Stay. Shengue. Just got told my village Clash Clans getting raided. Bye. Later. Stay on that grind. Oh, does he know I'm the one raiding his village? Huge drama going down in the Tortoise 101 community. And then the person stays by the river. We would have to use stay, person, ergative, anim, river, absolutive, is. No, it wouldn't be is because this is the yeah. So shen hekir konos. Yeah. Right. So the way I'm going to talk about this, this is from last time. That doesn't count anymore. So verbal postpositions versus the same versus verbs as verbs. So subject, object, postposition, copula, or just postposition is the same as the subject, the place. Not complete sentence. But subject, object, or the subject preposition, the place. Not complete sentence, right? But the subject, object, postposition, copula, that is the subject is preposition, the object. Cool. So this is a complete sentence. But to use the post as its verb form, you would have to say, use VSO. So then it's verb, which is originally a postposition, but not anymore. Subject, object. Then this is the same as saying the subject, verb, the object, which is a complete sentence. And if you wanted to add the copula to this construction, then copula is the copula acting as an auxiliary or not? Went to by state is I am going. No, it's treated as an auxiliary, so it goes after. So verb, this is the original postposition, copula, subject, object. This will eventually turn into a passive construction. So the object is verbing the subject. There we go. This is why syntax is cool, chat. Starting to think people who make these don't understand the purpose of emojis and emoticons. Maybe. I wonder who will ever use the symbols. The suits? Nah, those have use. They come from original emoticons when it was freaking oop diamond, heart, club. Ooh, actually, so that they're all facing the same way. There you go. Diamond, heart, club, spade. I'm running out of time, but this is how this works. I'm gonna move this here and change the text to gray. There we go. So that's why this is the case. And then next time, we're going to go into verb tense, valency, and more syntax biz. Awesome. I really like this system that we got. This feels really elegant to me. And it makes sense too, because the VSO verb emphasis. Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you think I deserve any of those things, or don't if you think I don't, and delight in the side of my suffering. Make sure you stop by Miss Notification Bell on your way out. She works very hard informing you of the 3 times a year I actually upload something. And if you could set your notification settings to all while you're at it, that would save her on paperwork, me on labor costs, and everyone a whole lot of stress. Again, have a good one. Say bye to Gilbert on your way out.